Like multiplying by 2, it's quite easy to do. Take a number and then you double it. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2, that equals 4. 2 times 3.
Hello, happy Wednesday, everyone. April 29th. I said it yesterday, but we're even closer to May. So that means we are into mid-third week. I can't believe we've been doing it this long, guys. All right, deep breaths. And we are ready for another full day. Sorry about the long videos, but they are long because of the Harry Potter at the end. So I try my best to keep it short. Today for the math, we're going to be doing multiplication by 1 digit. I did do something completely different that I have not done yet, which was I pulled out my iPad and I took it to a dot cam. It's actually funny. I finally took up my desk from school, my little black desk, my 1102 friends know. So it's very not creepy, but it's just weird because I'm sitting at the same desk with my document camera, but then I look around and I'm just in my room. So I miss you guys more than you know. It's little things like that that I wish I had you guys around. I know I always joke like, listen to the silence, but the silence, guys, I just wish I heard your laughter. The Zooms just really are not enough these days. Anyways, happy thoughts, like it says, believe in yourself, sunshine happy. I took it to my doc camp. So what that means is I tried to make it as real as possible, as Miss Princell would be in class. So that means that it's not perfect. There's some, it's just not what I wanted it to be, but I also wanted to be genuine and true and show you guys what it really looks like when you get into math and doing the math live. And I want to be honest with you all. So that means I didn't re-record. I stuck with my one take and went with it. So that means it's not perfect all the time in the screen. Pause, go back a little if something's cut off. I really tried, guys. I promise. And I'll get better with time. So don't unsubscribe, guys. I'm already in double digits. Don't take it from me. But in all seriousness, I know it's not the best YouTube, but for multiplication, it was just nearly impossible to do 2 different strategies and slides, and it just made more sense to go to paper. So that being said, since you're going to have to kind of haul through that and watch it, I did do one of your problems for today from the math. So it is worth you sitting through and watching. Second is that word problem of the week. I'm kind of leaving it where it is for Mr. Taylor's hot dogs. I am going to go over the answer in that. I really, the last 2 days have kind of like given you kind of this, I look at it as like a trampoline board to kind of hop over and solve that. But I don't, it's a really rough area now because if I go any further, I give you the answer. So if you're stuck, go back to those videos and tomorrow know that I'll go over the whole thing and all the boxes. So stay tuned for that. Give it your best chance for now. All right, and then for Achieve, we are on to a new one, and it's on cumbia, and Miss Princell tries her very best to pronounce the words all correct. So also, I mean, this is just a day for you guys to just be nice to Miss Princell. She had a lot of challenges, but we made it, guys. All right, Epic or AR, I'm going to be reading some Harry Potter at the end. Then, of course, Power Writing Day 11 and our beautiful cursive packet or journaling. Make sure you get those 30 minutes in.
Do you know the trick when you're measuring in metric? Know your
First word
powers
for today is place value. Over and over and over again, you're going to keep getting this. We're going to keep working on division, multiplication, all those things. Place value is not going away. It is the numerical value that a digit has determined by its position or place, I already know it, in a number. So place value means when you put that digit in the ones place, say it's an 8, you get an 8. If I say what's an 8 in the 100,000s, you're going to say 800,000. The place in the number matters. Okay, now for today, the focus, multiplication. We talked about it last week. Was it last week? Now my weeks are blending. I think it was our first week. On multiplicative comparisons, multiplication, we went over a factor. 2 factors multiplied together get you your answer to a multiplication problem, which is called a Dora the Explorer quad product. There we go, guys. Product. Okay. Now, 2 strategies I am using today, and I really am hoping you will do the same. That's why I did it under the dot cam, to kind of show you what that's going to look like with you fully doing out what we expect of you. So, first strategy is going to be going back into your brain, back into the file cabinet, and remembering area model. It's a model for multiplication and division problems that relates rectangular arrays to area. So it takes you back, and I walk you through it, but it takes you back to, what do you know about area? Area is length times width. It's what's inside, or you can, the grass and the, what is it? It's not the fence around, but the grass on the playground, all those songs we sing. I know you have some from 3rd grade. All of those, bring them back. Area is the actual, it's the area you're covering, the inside, the carpet of the classroom. So that's a way to look at our multiplication problem. Second strategy is partial product. If you see, you are not using standard algorithm, it looks like it, but you are taking apart in parts the products. You are multiplying 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times the 2 in the tens is 40. You add them together, you get your product. So that's 2 strategies. Again, when you use these strategies, they're for the same thing. You're finding a product. Your product should match. If they don't match, that's when you go back and figure out where was your mistake or what error did you make. If they match, you go, yay, I did this, and you move on to your next problem. All right.
Do you know the trick when you're measuring in metric? Know your powers.
So that being said, it is multiplication by 1 digit. Today, I'm going to be doing one of your problems from your packet directly. I chose the one that had the thousands number because I figured, okay, you're still going to get your own little practice down here, and I'll be nice giving you that huge big example of how many steps this could take. And that in reality, guys, it's not that big of a deal, because once you know your steps and you know how to follow them and you know the strategy, you can do it with as many numbers as you need. So that being said, I'm going to get started. I wanted to make it all pretty and technical, but I remembered my own advice to you is always take out a blank sheet of paper. So, I'm going to take my own advice. I am going to write, and you know my kids, I always say, you better write that number big so you don't get confused. And I'm going to follow that exactly. So right at the top, I am going to write this. So now that my scratch sheet of paper has my problem. 3,822 times 4. All right, that's what I'm working with. Now, my kids, I would say, I'm going to kind of push that to the side, just focus on my problem. My kids know that the next thing I would say was I cannot even begin, I can't start drawing an area model or a partial product until I have taken care of my place value and made sure that I know what I'm working with. So I'm just going to go in just for my own mind to know I have my ones, then it's my tens, then 100, then thousands. Okay, so at least I'm ready. I see this. I have these. I even might be technical and kind of bring my lines down just so in my head I am clear, I am ready, and I know what I'm working with. Perfect. All right. My problem's just going to sit up here and stay there. Now I know I'm going to have 2 separate strategies for my multiplication. The first one I am going to try is going to be the area model. Now, you want to start thinking, area. It's been a while. I know we had it on our homework sometime. Oh, area. I know area. What kind of things do I know? I know length times width equals area. Okay, so we have multiplication going on. Area is, what's that song Miss Princell sings? the grass on the playground. Okay, it's what's inside the circle. It's like the carpet of a room. It's not the perimeter, so I'm not adding all the sides. All right, so I think, if I remember properly, I'm going to draw a box. And remember, go big or go home. You do not want to mess up by just getting small and not knowing what you're working with here. So I know it cut off at the top, but just so you guys see and know, we still have our number up there. So, length times width. So I'm going to have this number, and I'm going to put my 4 on the side. Great, perfect. Okay, check. Now what about this number? So I'm going to multiply to get that area and get what my answer is going to be, that product. All right, so I'm going to have to keep track of my place values. I remember. If I expand that number, how do you expand that number? We've done this before. We have 3,800, okay, 3,000 plus 800, plus 20, plus, what's in my ones? 2. Wow, that was easy because I already did it with my place value. So I knew I had 3,800, 2 10s, and 2 1s. Perfect. All right. So now I just need to take this expanded form and get it up here so I can start multiplying each of my place values to get my total area or my total product. All right, let's do this. So first, it's going to be 3,000. Okay, then 800, then 20, then 2. All right, let's see what we can do. So now, can I kind of move up here to see this? Sure, and I know some of my friends always love to kind of go to remind themselves, all right, this is what we're doing. We are multiplying. All right, so let's get in business here. I'm going to start using some colors so you're seeing what we're working with. We're going to go 4 times 3,000, and what are we going to get? 4 times 3,000. 3,000, 6,000. 9,000, 12,000. But that makes sense. 12,000. Okay, I skip counted. But 4 times 3. Oh, that's 12. And then I think, wait. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2. Oh, that's 8. 4 times 3. That's 12. Okay. There we go. Okay. Not too bad. 12,000. All right. Deal. I'm good with that. 12,000. Okay. We took care of that place. Now what? Oh, we're on to the hundredth place. So, we got an 800 here. Now we got to go, what? Okay, area. Length times width. Okay, 4 times 800. But over here, we have 4 times 1. No, we got to keep going. We're not at 8. 4, 16. 4 times 5 is 20. No, we need 8. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7, 28. 4 times 8, 32. Okay, well then 800, 8. Ah, there we go. So 32, 8 times 4, 800. Okay. All right. Deal. Now what? Are we done? No. We have our tens place to take care of. So 4 times 20. Four times 20. No, but I know 4 times 2. What is that? 4 times 2 is 8. So I just have to add the 0. But am I just adding the 0? No. Can I check it? 20. 20, 40, 60, 80. Boom. Checked it. That is correct. I'm not just adding the 0. I also know when I count by 20s, I get 80. Are we done yet? Say no. Okay, you said no. Thank you. We are not done yet. We now have to finally do the ones place. So we have 4 times 2. And what are we going to get? 4 times 2, 8. All right. Now what on earth are we going to do? We have to get the area. So this entire thing, we are going to have to add up all of the products we got to get our whole product. So that means we're going to have to be careful and deliberate on how we are adding, which is why we did the addition first. So now we are good at it. We know how to work with this. So I like to add them 2 at a time. You can add them all 4 at once, but I always kind of tell my kids, we've worked this hard, guys. Are we really going to blow it because we just want to add it up really fast? I say absolutely not. So I like to check them off so I make sure I don't leave anything out. So I do 12,000 plus 3,200. Okay, I got you and I got you. Perfect. Now I'm going to, and that's why I say I wish I had my grid paper, guys. I am just as kind of crazy as you. I'm not the best, but I want just to make sure that you guys know we still can follow all the rules that we typically do in class, even though it takes a little bit more. But we got this. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Because I don't just want to move on. I want to make sure place value, place value, place value. So now let me add, just like we did in the previous days. 0 in the ones plus 0 in the ones is 0. 0 in the tens plus 0 in the tens is 0. 0 in the hundreds plus 2 in the hundreds is 2 in the hundreds. Then 2 in the thousands plus 3 in the thousands is 5 thousands. And 1 in the 10,000s plus nada down here is going to be a 1 in the 10,000s. Now, you can get excited. You can go, yay, my answer. But we remember, we only just got that for our first part. So yay, good job, but we are not done. Now, we have to come and add 80 plus 8. 80 plus 8. Check, check. The way you practice is the way you are going to perform. So, even though this isn't as big of a number, I'm still going to say I have my ones, I have my tens. 0 plus 8 is 8 in the ones, and there's nothing to add in the tens on the bottom, so our 8 tens is just going to come on down. I have 88. Now, I have the job of adding both of these together because I added this together, that together. Now I have to add those together to get the entire area, my product. So here we go. I'm going to take my numbers. I'm kind of going to rope this off so I don't get confused. Miss Princell is real fancy, guys, but I really want to make sure I focus myself in. So right over here, I'm going to write 15,200 plus 88. And again, you want to make sure you are keeping track of your numbers, doing those little checkoffs if they help you. Yes and yes. All right. So again, line comes down like I would if I was on grid paper. I have the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, and 10,000s. Now, add it up. 0 ones plus 8 ones, 8. 0 tens plus 8 tens, 8. 2 hundreds plus nothing in the bottom, you bring that guy down and you get 2 hundreds. 5 plus nothing, you're going to bring that guy down and get 5 in the thousands. And then the same for that 10,000, you're not adding it against anything, so you are going to bring it down. Your final answer is 15,288.
10. That's not all. You gotta know the order from big to small. KHD, unit, DCM. To convert to a bigger size, you must remember to
Comma, 822. I'm going to multiply by my 1 digit today, and that 1 digit is a 4. Now, I always love for myself personally to make sure that I am knowledgeable about my place value from the beginning. It's not something that I have to keep going back. I set it up in the beginning and then I have it there for me as a tool. So what I am going to do is draw down lines to make sure that I am going to stay organized and very clear with my place values throughout this process. So they'll get longer if I need them, but right now I'm just going to kind of leave them there. And I'm going to come up here to the top and make that place value chart just as I've been using for the last week or two. So I'm talking about this fancy guy right here. I'm going to use this knowledge of place value and bring it over here to my multiplication to make sure that I'm using this knowledge to help me as a tool. Okay, so I'm going to look and say, all right, right here is my ones place. Right here is my tens place next to my ones, and then here I have a hundreds, and finally for this number it goes up to the thousands place. All right, so now that I have this set up, I am now going to think, what is my first step? All right, I know that I have the single digit down here, and I'm partial product. It says part in it. So that makes me think, it's kind of a reminder that I'm going to be taking parts of my whole number there on top, and I'm going to be multiplying them. And once I get all my parts kind of multiplied, I'm going to add them all up to get my final product. All right, perfect. Now I remember there was this strategy Miss Princell did. And of course I'm talking about myself in third person. That's a nice little point of view reference for you guys. But I always love to set up this little, I wouldn't even call it a cheat sheet. I kind of call it my toolbox of my fours. I really sometimes get frustrated because I'm trying to do all of this. I'm trying to remember my strategy. I'm trying to remember partial product. And then my multiplication tables get in my way. And it gets frustrating. I don't want to get it wrong just because I can't remember what 4 times 2 is. So I've kind of had a solution for that. And I take my time at the very beginning, like what I do with my place value, and I get these out on paper. So at least I have them there, I can depend on them, and I know that as I'm working through my algorithm or my strategy, that I have that solid base to lean back on. So that being said, I would love for you to pause and you guys kind of fill this out. on your own and then check with me as I fill it out. But what I'm doing is I'm writing 4 times 1, 4 times 2, all the way up to 12, just for me to have as kind of my bank, my toolbox. So go ahead and pause right here to do it on your own. Once you press play after this, I'm going to be kind of rapid cam doing it. Alrighty, so I have my toolbox ready, and now I feel confident, I feel ready and prepared to take on this problem. So here we go. I am going to make sure that I remember this strategy that it kind of looks like that division house after all, but we're doing multiplication, so don't get confused. I am going to start and go piece by piece, part by part. I am going to start with my 4 times my ones place. So 4 times 2. And I love going in with color now. So not before, but kind of as a check for me to make sure that I'm keeping true to the place value. So I'm going to make my 1s green. And I'm going to know my 2 is in that green slot. And yep, over here, I did it right. My 2 is remaining a 1, and it is just a 2. Digit 2 in the 1s, it's a 2. So 4 times 2, oh, my toolbox. I can come up here. 4 times 2 is perfect. It is 8. Alrighty, I feel good. I feel ready to go to my next step. Now I'm going to say 4 times 2. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, sorry, Mr. Samaniego. I was just getting excited. I thought I had this, but thank you for reminding me. This is often a point that I forget. I start kind of getting lost in the numbers and thinking, okay, 4 times 2, now 4 times 2, but then I looked and now I know, wait, that's tens. And that's a big difference from 2. I would rather have $20 than $2. So 2 in my tens over here, it's not going to be a 2. It's going to be 2, 0 because it's 2 tens is 20. That changes the game. So 20 times 4 is not going to be 8. Okay, but I can use what I know about 4 times 2, right? 4 times 20, I can count by 20s, right? Skip counting is always useful because that's like repeated addition, and I know repeated addition is like multiplication. So 20, 40, 60, 80. Ooh, that would make sense because 4 times 2 is 8, and I know that trick that people say all the time. They just say add a 0, but I want to understand it fully. I don't just want to say add a 0 because that could get confusing when my numbers get big. So yeah, add a 0 works, that whole thing, but I just skip counted, so 80, and would that make sense? $20, another $20, that's 40. Another $20 is 60, 80. Yep, that's logical. That makes sense. So I'm going to put this in and make sure that I'm staying true to my place value. 80 is an 8 in the tens because that's 8 tens. But, oh, I need to make sure that I put in that 0 because that is a placeholder. That tells me that number is not an 8. It's an AD. It's AD, not just 8. So I know that was kind of repetitive, but just know and be knowledgeable that 8's got to make sure, though, that your grid's in line and you're putting that guy in where it belongs, which is AD, not 8. All right, Princell. Can we still do this? I think we got this. Now let's move on. We have 4 times 8. All right, wrong color, lady. 4 times 8. All right, let me go up to my tool. What, mister? Can you stop? Can you raise your hand next time? Go ahead. What do you have to say, Mr. Amaniego? Okay, thanks for helping. How do you know I was going to get there? I don't know if I would have, but thanks for reminding me. Very nice. All right, guys, Mr. Samaniego beat me to it, but 800. So, yeah, okay. I'm learning from my mistakes. I'm trying. 4 times 800. All right, yeah, you're right, Mr. Samaniego. Thank you for helping. 4 times 8. Okay, well, my toolbox can help with that, but what was that thing when we used place value? It was 4 times 800. Ooh, I like that strategy. Look at that. 4 times 800. Because up here, I know 4 times 8 is, what is it? 32. So what if I just said this down here is 4 times 8 is 32 and hundreds? And that would make sense because 32 hundreds would be, oh my, I'm going to have to extend this, would be, is that right? 32 hundreds. Wait, let me make sense of this though. 800, okay, it's more than 800, so I know that would make sense because multiplication means I have to have more than what I start with. But 4 times 800, $800, another 800 would get me almost close to 2,000, plus another one, then that makes sense. It wouldn't be 320, it wouldn't be 30,000. Yeah, I think that logic works. I think that what Miss Princell taught me that one time with place value does come in handy with this. All right, well, those notes just need to stay down here in its little box, but that worked. 4 times 800, that's 3,200. Now, let me make sure. Did I stay in line? 3 is in my thousands, check. 2 is in the hundreds, check. 0, yep, 0. Okay, I did it right. I'm good. I got this. Whew. All right, last one. 4 times 3. Don't even say it. Don't say it. What did I say? Don't say it. 4 times 3,000. See, Mr. Dominic, I got this. Don't even worry about me. I am a professional, and I'm going to go in red. 3,000. No misconception here. And now the money. Oh, 4 times. Okay, I know I can do 4 times 3. I'm not worried about that, but I don't want to go by this. Add zeros. Yeah, no, because I guess I could put 0, 0, 0, but let me check with this. This makes me feel comfortable. This makes me feel like I'm using some place value knowledge, and 3,000. Okay, 4 times 3. What is that? 4 times 3 is 12. 12. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. 12,000. Would that make sense? 4 times 3,000. 3,000 plus. Ooh, I can skip count. 3,000 plus 3,000. 6,000 plus another 3,000. 9,000 plus another 3,000. Bingo! 12,000. Yep, told ya. I knew the strategy worked all along. Bingo! But see, Miss Princell had to think. She had to use the place value knowledge and not just trust that one time I learned that one strategy. I practiced a couple times, been a couple months. You want to always go back and make sure you're checking your own self, checking your work, and that's the great thing about math, guys. You have that ability to think through it. So, let's finish the job we started, and now know 12,000. But 12,000. That's a 2 in the thousands place, but that means we don't have that place value yet. What do I do? Dun, 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 dun. What's next door? The 10,000s, and that's completely fine. You can draw another line down and say 10,000s. And now I'm going to come down here and write my 1, my 2 in my thousands for 12,000. And since it's 12,000, it's 0, 0, 0. And what do you know? That tricky little rule people say, Just add in the zeros. Count the zeros. 4 times 3 and add 3 zeros. Okay, it did work. Yes, it did. We know. Fine. But I didn't depend on that. I used this knowledge, a place value. I used my ability to know these facts up here, and then take in my place value knowledge and combine them together. Of course, go ahead, check it with those ways, but just don't depend on them solely, guys. Now we're going to add it all up. 8 in our ones plus 0, 0, 0. That was easy. We got 8. 8 in our tens plus 0 and 0 is 8. 2 hundreds plus 0 hundreds is 2 hundreds. 3 thousands plus 2,000 equals 5,000. And finally, our 1 in the 10,000s. We got 15,288. Now, here we go. Are we going to match our area model? Ta-da! Check, check. I used 2 strategies, looking very different, but they both got me to 15,288. I am confident and ready to defend my work and know that I can come back to this page and put down here or enter in on my form 15,288.
All right, problem 3 of the week. I went over already kind of in the schedule telling you this is you just moving on with yourself because I can't give you the answer just yet. I want to give people that time that I said. So today you're continuing that Taylor's Hot Dogs problem 3. You can log back in and upload your models like you did last week. Great job. People took pictures of them. Answer, explanation, do it in your packets. You know the drill. You can do it. Tomorrow will be the finale and the answers that I'll go through the steps of all 6 boxes.
Pick a moment to begin. Choose a seed and not a melon. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. The moment should be meaningful.
Today for Achieve, Cumbia brings cultures together. You're going to look for these beautiful women that are dancing in these fabulous dresses, and you are going to be just reading and annotating the article today. Your notes will be continued from the beginning of the week if that's where you have been taking notes. If you're in that packet, mark it up. It is yours. Please, please annotate so you're ready for that activity tomorrow, Thursday.
In every text you read, you must read close to see the most important point. You know that's called the main idea. One sentence that just sums it up. So let's go. Oh, let's find the main idea.
All right, finally, writing. For power writing today, it's number 12. And your prompt is, imagine you worked at a football stadium. What would your job be? Examples: quarterback, cheerleader, coach, referee, ticket seller. Describe what you would do while you were on the job. So your job today is to think of a football stadium. If you want to think of a different sport, that is completely fine. If you've only been to soccer games, or if you've only been to, what other sports are there? Princell, come on, think. She can't think. Baseball, if any of those kind of stadium atmospheres, think of the jobs that you see around. If you want to be the cameraman, because we all know typically sports are filmed, those examples are not your only limit. Remember, that's why you have your think time, because you have that time to think of all the different jobs around. Think about it, become it, and write. I am excited to hear your responses. Kind of the options should be endless, and I can't wait to see all your ideas. All right. Chapter 6, The Journey from Platform 9 3/4. Harry's last month with the Dursleys wasn't fun. True, Dudley was now so scared of Harry, he wouldn't stay in the same room, while Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon didn't shut Harry in his cupboard, force him to do anything, or shout at him. In fact, they didn't speak to him at all. Half terrified, half furious, they acted as though any chair with Harry in it were empty. Although this was an improvement in many ways, it did become a bit depressing after a while. Harry kept to his room with his new owl for company. He had decided to call her Hedwig, a name he had found in a history of magic. His schoolbooks were very interesting. He lay on his bed reading late into the night, Hedwig swooping in and out of the open window as she pleased. It was lucky that Aunt Petunia didn't come in to vacuum anymore, because Hedwig kept bringing back dead mice. Every night before he went to sleep, Harry ticked off another day on the piece of paper he had pinned to the wall, counting down to September the 1st. On the last day of August, he thought he'd better speak to his aunt and uncle about getting to King's Cross Station the next day. So he went down to the living room where they were watching a quiz show on the television. He cleared his throat to let them know he was there. And Dudley screamed and ran from the room. Uncle Vernon? Uncle Vernon grunted to show he was listening. I need to be at King's Crossing tomorrow to go to Hogwarts. Uncle Vernon grunted again. Would it be all right if you gave me a lift? Grunted. Harry supposed that meant yes. Thank you. He was about to go back upstairs when Uncle Vernon actually spoke. Funny way to get a wizard to school. The train? Magic carpets all got punctures. Have they? Harry didn't say anything. Where is this school anyways? I don't know, said Harry, realizing this for the first time. He pulled the ticket Hagrid had given him out of his pocket. I just take the train from platform 9 3/4 at 11 o'clock, he read. His aunt and uncle stared. Platform what? 9 3/4. Don't talk rubbish, said Uncle Vernon. There is no platform 9 3/4. It's on my ticket. Barking, said Uncle Vernon. Howling mad. The lot of them, you'll see. You just wait. All right, we'll take you to King's Crossing. We're going up to London tomorrow anyways, or I wouldn't bother. Why are you going to London? Harry asked, trying to keep things friendly. Taking Dudley to the hospital, growled Uncle Vernon. Got to have that ruddy tail removed before he goes to Smeltings. Harry woke at 5 o'clock the next morning and was too excited and nervous to go back to sleep. He got up and pulled on his jeans because he didn't want to walk into the station in his wizard robes. He changed on the train. He checked his Hogwarts list yet again to make sure he had everything he needed. Saw that Hedwig was shut safely in her cage, and then paced the room, waiting for the Dursleys to get up. 2 hours later, Harry's huge, heavy trunk had been loaded into the Dursleys' car. Aunt Petunia had talked Dudley into sitting next to Harry, and they had set off. They reached King's Crossing at 10:30. Uncle Vernon dumped Harry's trunk onto a cart and wheeled it into the station for him. Harry thought this was strangely kind. Uncle Vernon stopped dead, facing the platform with a nasty grin on his face. Well, there you go, boy. Platform 9. Platform 10. Your platform should be somewhere in the middle. But they don't seem to have built it yet. Do they? He was quite right, of course. There was a big plastic number 9 over one platform and a big plastic number 10 over the one next to it. And in the middle, nothing at all. Have a good term, said Uncle Vernon, with an even nastier smile. He left without another word. Harry turned and saw the Dursleys drive away. All three of them were laughing. Harry's mouth went rather dry. What on earth was he going to do? He was starting to attract a lot of funny looks because of Hedwig. He'd have to ask someone. He stopped a passing guard, but didn't dare to mention platform 9 3/4. The guard had never heard of Hogwarts, and when Harry couldn't even tell him what part of the country it was in, he started to get annoyed, as though Harry was being stupid on purpose. Getting desperate, Harry asked for the train that left at 11 o'clock, but the guard said there wasn't one. In the end, the guards strode away, muttering about time wasters. Harry was now trying hard not to panic. According to the large clock over the arrivals board, he had 10 minutes left to get on the train to Hogwarts, and he had no idea how to do it. He was stranded in the middle of a station with a trunk he could hardly lift, a pocket full of wizard money, and a large owl. Hagrid must have forgotten to tell him something. You had to do, like tapping the third brick on the left to get into Diagon Alley. He wondered if he should get out his wand and start tapping the ticket inspector's stand between platforms 9 and 10. At that moment, a group of people passed just behind him, and he caught a few words of what they were saying. Packed with muggles, of course. Harry swung around. The speaker was a plump woman who was talking to 4 boys, all with flaming red hair. Each of them was pushing a trunk like Harry in front of him, and they had an owl. Heart hammering, Harry pushed his cart after them. They stopped, and so did he, just near enough to hear what they were saying. Now, what's the platform number? Said the boy's mother. 9 3/4, piped a small girl, also red-headed, who was holding her hand. Mum, can't I go? You're not old enough, Guinea. Now be quiet. All right, Piercy, you go first. What looked like the oldest boy marched towards platform 9 and 10. Harry watched, careful not to blink in case he missed it. But just as the boy reached the dividing barrier between the 2 platforms, a large crowd of tourists came swarming in front of him, and by the time the last backpack had cleared, the boy had vanished. Fred, you next, the plump woman said. I'm not Fred, I'm George, said the boy. Honestly, woman, you call yourself our mother. Can't you tell I'm George? Sorry, George, dear. Only joking. I am Fred, said the boy, and off he went. His twin called after him to hurry up, and he must have done so, because a second later he had gone. But how had he done it? Now the third brother was walking briskly toward the barrier. He was almost there, and then, quite suddenly, he wasn't anywhere. There was nothing else for it. Excuse me, Harry said to the plump woman. Hello, dear, she said. First time at Hogwarts? Ron's new, too. She pointed at the last and youngest of her sons. He was tall, thin, and gangly, with freckles, big hands and feet, and a long nose. Yes, said Harry. The thing is, I don't know how to. How to get onto the platform, she said kindly, and Harry nodded. Not to worry, she said. All you have to do is walk straight at the barrier between platforms 9 and 10. Don't stop, and don't be scared. You'll crash into it. That's very important. Best do it at a bit of a run if you're nervous. Go on now, Ron, before Ron. Okay, said Harry. He pushed his trolley around and stared at the barrier. It looked very solid. He started to walk toward it. People jostled him on their way to the platforms 9 and 10. Harry walked more quickly. He was going to smash right into that barrier, and then he'd be in trouble. Leaning forward on his cart, he broke into a heavy run. The barrier was becoming nearer and nearer. He wouldn't be able to stop. The cart was out of control. He was a foot away, and he closed his eyes ready for the crash. It didn't come. He kept on running. He opened his eyes. A scarlet steam engine was waiting next to a platform packed with people. A sign overhead said, Hogwarts Express, 11 o'clock. Harry looked behind him and saw a wrought iron archway where the barrier had been, with the words platform 9 3/4 on it. He had done it. Smoke from the engine drifted over the heads of the chattering crowd, while cats of every color wound here and there between their legs. Owls hooted to one another in a disgruntled sort of way over the babble and scraping of heavy trunks. The first few carriages were already packed with students, some hanging out of the window to talk to their families, some fighting over seats. Harry pushed his cart off down the platform in search of an empty seat. He passed a round-faced boy who was saying, Gran, I've lost my toad again. Oh, Neville, he heard the old woman sigh. A boy with dreadlocks was surrounded by a small crowd. Give us a look, Lee. Go on. The boy lifted the lid of a box in his arms, and the people around him shrieked and yelled as something inside poked out a long, hairy leg. Harry pressed on through the crowd until he found an empty compartment near the end of the train. He put Hedwig inside first, and then started to shove and heave his trunk towards the train door. He tried to lift it up the steps, but could hardly raise one end, and twice he dropped it painfully on his foot. Want a hand? It was one of the red-haired twins. He'd followed through the barrier. Yes, please, Harry panted. Oi, Fred, come here and help. With the twins' help, Harry's trunk was at last tucked away in a corner of the compartment. Thanks, said Harry, pushing his sweaty hair out of his eyes. What's that? Said one of the twins suddenly, pointing at Harry's lightning scarf. Blimey, said the other twin. Are you? He is, said the first twin. Aren't you? He added to Harry. What? Said Harry. Harry Potter, chorused the twins. Oh, him, said Harry. Yes, I am. The two boys gawked at him, and Harry felt himself turning red. Then, to his relief, a voice came floating in through the train's open door. Fred? George? Are you there? Coming, Mum! With a last look at Harry, the twins hopped off the train. Harry sat down next to the window where, half hidden, he could watch the red-haired family on the platform and hear what they were saying. Their mother had just taken out her handkerchief. Ron, you've got something on your nose. The youngest boy tried to jerk out of the way, but she grabbed him and began rubbing the end of his nose. Mom, get off! He wriggled free. Ah, has Ickle Ronnie got something on his nose? Said one of the twins. Shut up, said Ron. Where's Percy? Said their mother. He's coming now. The oldest boy came striding into sight. He had already changed into his billowing black Hogwarts robes, and Harry noticed a shiny red and gold badge on his chest with the letter P on it. Can't stay long, Mother, he said. I'm up front. The prefects have got 2 compartments to themselves. Oh, are you a prefect, Percy? Said one of the twins, with an air of great surprise. You should have said something. We had no idea. Hang on, I think I remember him saying something about it, said the other twin. Once or twice, a minute, all summer? Oh, shut up, said Percy the prefect. How come Percy gets new robes anyway, said one of the twins. Because he's a prefect, said their mother fondly. All right, dear, well, have a good term. Send me an owl when you will get there. She kissed Percy on the cheek, and he left. Then she turned to the twins. Now you two, this year you behave yourself. If I get one more owl telling me you've blown up a toilet or blown up a toilet, we've never blown up a toilet. Great idea, though. Thanks, Mom. It's not funny. And look after Ron. Don't worry, Ickle Ronnykins is safe with us. Shut up, said Ron again. He was almost as tall as the twins already, and his nose was still pink where his mother had rubbed it. Hey, Mom, guess what? Guess who we just met on the train? Harry leaned back quickly so they couldn't see him looking. You know that black-haired boy who was near us in the station? Know who he is? Who? Harry Potter. Harry heard the little girl's voice. Oh, Mom, can I go on the train and see him, Mom? Oh, please. You've already seen him, Ginny, and the poor boy isn't something you Google at in a zoo. Is he really, Fred? How do you know? Asked him. Saw his scar. It's really there, like lightning. Poor dear. No wonder he was alone. I wondered. He was ever so polite when he asked how to get onto the platform. Never mind that. Do you think he remembers what you-know-who looks like? Their mother suddenly became very stern. I forbid you to ask him, Fred. No, don't you dare. As though he needs reminding of that on his first day at school. All right, keep your hair on. A whistle sounded. Hurry up, said their mother, and the 3 boys clambered onto the train. They leaned out of the window for her to kiss them goodbye, and their youngest sister began to cry. Don't, Ginny. We'll send you loads of owls. We'll send you a Hogwarts toilet seat. George! Only joking, Mom. The train began to move. Harry saw the boys, mother waving, and their sister half laughing, half crying, running to keep up with the train until it gathered too much speed. Then she fell back and waved. Harry watched the girl and her mother disappear as the train rounded the corner. Houses flashed past the window. Harry felt a great leap of excitement. He didn't know what he was going to, but it had to be better than what he was leaving behind. The door of the compartment slid open. The youngest red-headed boy came in. Anyone sitting here? He asked, pointing at the seat opposite to Harry. Everywhere else is full. Harry shook his head, and the boy sat down. He glanced at Harry, and then looked quickly out of the window, pretending he hadn't looked. Harry saw he still had a black mark on his nose. Hey, Ron, the twins are back. Listen, we're going to go down the middle of the train. Lee Jordan's got a giant tarantula down there. Right, mumbled Ron. Harry, said the other twin. Did we introduce ourselves? Fred and George Weasley. And this is Ron, our brother. See you later, then. Bye, said Harry and Ron. The twins slid the compartment door shut behind them. Are you really Harry Potter? Ron blurted out. Harry nodded. Oh, well, I thought it might be one of Fred and George's jokes, said Ron. And have you really got, he pointed at Harry's forehead. Harry pulled back his bangs to show the lightning bolt scar. Ron stared. So that's where you know who? Yes, said Harry. But I can't remember it. Nothing? Said Ron eagerly. Well, I remember a lot of green light, but nothing else. Wow, said Ron. He sat and stared at Harry for a few moments, and then as though he had suddenly realized what he was doing, he looked quietly out of the window again. Are all your family wizards? Asked Harry, who found Ron just as interesting as Ron found him. Yes, I think so, said Ron. I think Mom's got a second cousin who's an accountant, but we never talk about him. So you must know loads of magic already. The Weasleys were clearly one of those old wizarding families the pale boy in Diagon Alley had talked about. I heard you went to live with Muggles, said Ron. What are they like? Horrible? Well, not all of them. My aunt and uncle and cousins are. Though, wish I'd had 3 wizard brothers. 5, said Ron. For some reason, he was looking gloomy. I'm the 6th in our family to go to Hogwarts. You could say I've got a lot to live up to. Bill and Charlie have already left. Bill was head boy, and Charlie was captain of Quidditch. Now Percy's a prefect. Fred and George mess around a lot, but they still get really good marks, and everyone thinks they're really funny. Everyone except me expects me to do as well as the others. But if I do, it's no big deal, because they did it first. You never get anything new either. With 5 brothers, I've got Bill's old robes, Charlie's old wand, and Percy's old rat. Ron reached inside his jacket and pulled out a fat gray rat, which was asleep. His name's Scabbers, and he's useless. He hardly ever wakes up. Percy got an owl from my dad for being made a prefect. But they couldn't I got Scabbers instead. Ron's ears went pink. He seemed to think he said too much, because he went back to staring out of the window. Harry didn't think there was anything wrong with not being able to afford an owl. After all, he'd never had any money in his own life until a month ago. And he told Ron so, all about having to wear Dudley's old clothes and never getting proper birthday presents. This seemed to cheer Ron up. And until Hagrid told me, I didn't know anything about being a wizard, or about my parents, or Voldemort. Ron gasped. What? Said Harry. You said, you know whose name? Said Ron, sounding both shocked and impressed. I'd have thought you, of all people. I'm not trying to be brave or anything, saying the name, said Harry. I just never knew you shouldn't. See what I mean? I've got loads to learn, I bet. He added, voicing for the first time something that had been worrying him a lot lately. I bet I'm the worst in the class. You won't be. There's loads of people who come from Muggle families, and they learn quick enough. While they had been talking, the train had carried them out of London. Now they were speeding past fields full of cows and sheep. They were quiet for a time, watching the fields and lanes flit past. Around 12:30, there was a great clattering outside in the corridor, and a smiling, dimpled woman sliding back their door and said, Anything off the cart, dears? Harry, who hadn't had any breakfast, leapt to his feet. But Ron's ears went pink again, and he muttered that he brought sandwiches. Harry went out into the corridor. He had never had any money for candy with the Dursleys, and now that he had pockets rattling with gold and silver, he was ready to buy as many Mars bars as he could carry. But the woman didn't have Mars bars. What she did have were Bertie's Bots, every flavor beans, Drubal's best blowing gum, chocolate frogs, pumpkin pastries, cauldron cakes, licorice wands, and a number of other strange things Harry had never seen in his life. Not wanting to miss a thing, he got some of everything and paid the woman 11 silver sickles and 7 brawn nuts. Ron stared as Harry bought it all back in the compartment and tipped it onto an empty seat. Hungry, are you? Starving, said Harry, taking a large bite out of a pumpkin pastry. Ron had taken out a lumpy package and unwrapped it. There were 4 sandwiches inside. He pulled one of them apart and said, "She always forgets I don't like corned beef." "Swapped you for one of these," said Harry, holding up the pastry. "Go on." "You don't want this? It's all dry," said Ron. "She hasn't got much time," he added quickly, with us 5. "Go on, have a pastry," said Harry, who had never had anything to share before, or indeed anyone to share it with. It was a nice feeling sitting there with Ron, eating their way through all Harry's pastries, cakes, and candies. The sandwiches lay forgotten. "What are these?" Harry asked Ron, holding up a pack of chocolate frogs. "They're not really frogs, are they?" He was starting to feel that nothing would surprise him. "No," said Ron, "but see what the card is? I'm missing Agrippa." "What?" "Oh, of course you wouldn't know. Chocolate frogs have cards inside them, to collect famous witches and wizards. I've got about 500, but I haven't got Agrippa or Ptolemy." Harry unwrapped his chocolate frog and picked up the card. It showed a man's face. He wore half-moon glasses, had a long, crooked nose, and flowing silver hair, beard, and mustache. Underneath the picture, sorry, underneath the picture was the name, Albus Dumbledore. "So this is Dumbledore," said Harry. "Don't tell me you never heard of Dumbledore," said Ron. "Can I have a frog? I might get Agrippa." "Thanks." Harry turned over his card and read. Albus Dumbledore, currently headmaster of Hogwarts, considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times. Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the dark wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work on alchemy with his partner, Nicholas Flamel. Professor Dumbledore enjoys chamber music and Tempin bowling. Harry turned the card back over and saw to his astonishment that Dumbledore's face had disappeared. "He's gone." "Well, you can't expect him to hang around all day," said Ron. "He'll be back." "No, I've got Morgana again, and I've got about 6 of her. Do you want it? You can start collecting." Ron's eyes strayed to the pile of chocolate frogs waiting to be unwrapped. "Help yourself," said Harry. "But in, the Muggle world, people just stay put in photos, do they? What, they don't move at all?" Ron sounded amazed. "Weird." Harry stared as Dumbledore settled back into the picture on his card and gave him a small smile. Ron was more interested in eating the frogs than looking at the famous witches and wizards on the cards. But Harry couldn't keep his eyes off them. Soon he not only had Dumbledore and Morgana, but Hengist of Woodcroft, Albrecht Runen, Circe, Pericles, and Merlin. He finally tore his eyes away from the druidess Cleodina, who was scratching her nose to open a bag of Bertie Bott's every flavored beans. "You want to be careful with those," Ron warned Harry. "When they say every flavor, they mean every flavor. You get all the ordinary ones like chocolate, peppermint, marmalade, but then you get spinach and liver and tripe. George reckons he had a booger-flavored one once." Ron picked up a green bean, looked at it carefully, and bit into it. "Blah! See? Sprouts." They had a good time eating the ever-flavor beans. Harry got toast, coconut, baked bean, strawberry, curry, grass, coffee, sardine, and was even brave enough to nibble the end off a funny gray one Ron wouldn't touch, which turned out to be pepper. The countryside, now flying past the window, was becoming wilder. The neat fields had gone. Now there were woods, twisting rivers, and dark green hills. Alright guys, we're going to stop here, and I'll read the rest of this chapter tomorrow.